I love that that's catching on now.
I know,
That's
I
all
know.
people want, Sitch. They just want us to make funny voices and
They
goof
do.
around.
They do. Why do we even bother with serious politics? Like all the craziness that's going on. We have non-stop news. Okay.
I
We have not
know.
if Kamala Harris won, we would not have a non-stop news cycle. We
She'd
could
be
say that.
gone. She'd be missing.
She
Who
would
knows where she would be?
it would be gone.
She
Yes.
wouldn't be talking to anyone.
I want to check it on Earth too. See what it's like under the Harris regime right now. Just curious.
I know that would be great, huh? That we should do that for all elections. We should have some virtual reality AI dream up what would have
Yes.
happened if somebody else wins and it become like a
Oh,
video game that you can
oh
check
my
in
God.
on.
That's gonna be
Yes.
amazing.
The Harris world.
Right. So, big news was last night.
Hmm.
Trump had a
Trump said
press.
some bad things.
What else is now?
Trump
Is
said some things that got everyone really pissed off.
mhm. Well, a lot of people point to there's this old Stephen Bannon quote from Trump's first administration where they talks about just like constantly bombarding the news and the public with like so much information, so many stories that you can't like digest any one. Cause you just jump from boom, ba boom, ba boom, ba boom, ba boom, right? It's like, it's like a few days ago, we're going to fire all the inspector generals. Then we're going to fire all the lawyers involved with January 6th. Then we're going to try to fire all the FBI agents. And then we're going to try to close USAID. Now we're going to try to buy Gaza. Like it's just like that. Maybe that's the strategy is just to keep doing boom, 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 boom. So you can't like really, no one can like fixate on one thing. It's just there's so many things going along.
Isn't this called flooding the zone?
That's what Stephen Bannon calls it.
I
Yes.
think, yeah. I think it might
Yeah.
come from a sports analogy, but I'm
Yes.
completely
It
inept when
does.
it
It
comes to
does. Yeah.
sports. So
Right.
I
So,
don't
but
know the analogy, but
that might be
yes,
this.
they're flooding the zone.
Right.
It's
That might
flooded.
be.
Oh my
It
God.
is
The,
flooded.
the
It is flooded.
dikes have overflowed. The
Whoa, whoa,
levees have
whoa.
not held.
Just because Trump's
Yeah.
president doesn't mean you can use that word.
The dikes.
Yeah.
Well, how many dikes are left? I mean, now that they're flooding the zone.
Now that they're flooding the zone. Yeah. So no, I mean that definitely seems to be the strategy in terms of just like doing this. I guess it's a good idea politically, just to like try to, again, you have the most political power usually when you're president, like right up front. So I guess it makes sense to just try to ram through as much as you humanly possibly can in the first 100 days.
Ram it through. Just
Just
shove it on
ram
in
it
there.
through.
Just
Just
ram
shove it
that.
in there. Just ram it through. Right. Yeah. So okay. So the big thing last night, Trump has his press conference and he announces, and we're going to watch clips of it. He announces that essentially America is going to buy/control Gaza, send in U.S. military forces to like clear out the remaining Hamas people to disarm the booby traps and tunnels, and then America is going to like own and rebuild the area and turn it into some kind of luxury resort place or something.
Yeah, I heard a lot of Democrats. They seem to overlook the part where he talks about relocating everybody. Like, obviously, he tries to make it sound like all hearts and unicorns, right? We're going to find nice places for all of these people to live, right?
Right, right,
In Jordan and Egypt. Oh, we're going to
right.
build them great houses. Everything's going to be well in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But I hear Democrats talking about it as if he hadn't said that. Look, obviously, they could think he's lying, like he's not really planning on doing that, and maybe he is not planning on doing that. But I mean,
Well,
he
yeah,
is laying out something that sounds more palatable than we're just gonna gas all of these people, right?
sure, sure. Well, I don't know when I was seeing account because I was very curious how people react to this on both the left and the right. Um, I've seen people on the left. They were saying not the ones that I saw, the accounts I saw, they weren't saying like, oh, they were gonna, they thought Trump was gonna go kill these people, but it was just like ethnic cleansing, ethnic cleansing, ethnic cleansing, which this would be
It
explicitly an
would.
ethnic cleansing.
Is it
It's
really ethnic cleansing if you buy him a house in Jordan, Sitch? Come on.
well, just definitionally ethnic cleansing just means you take an ethnic group and you just remove them from the area. I don't know if that
Right, right,
includes whether
right.
you buy them a nice house or not. There's a
Can't we
clip in
just call it ethnic relocation?
ethnic. I like that. Okay, it's ethnic upscaling.
There you
There you go.
go. Look,
Right,
we're going
right.
to gentrify part of Jordan.
Ethnic gentrification.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about all like our thoughts on it. But I first kind of want to watch these clips because I think I had an intuition about this before I actually watched the press conference. And then when I watched the press conference, it changed my thoughts on it
Oh,
completely.
really? Okay.
Yeah. Because a lot of people are like, is this a real plan? Is this a negotiation tactic? Right. All
Hmm.
that stuff. Because when I first saw like the clip and I didn't actually watch the press conference, I thought, okay, it's probably like a negotiation tactic, right? Like I was like, because it seems such like an unpalatable idea to Trump supporters. Like who cares? Like from Trump's perspective, who cares about what the left says? They're not gonna like anything you do. But from
Yeah,
the
it
right,
is adventurism, the thing that they're against.
right, like such a big part of the Trump movement of America First was America First. That
Right.
was the whole thing with the U.S. aid. We need to pull out, our foreign aid investments. We don't want to be, getting our soldiers caught up all these boondoggles. Supposedly that was a big thing with Trump in his first term. I want to pull soldiers out of everywhere. Blah 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 blah. And so this seems to be kind of completely counter to that. The concept of like, okay, well, we're literally going to put U.S. troops in Gaza to take everyone out, control the region, and then rebuild it. I mean, that's like you're basically permanently involving United States in like one of the stickiest hotbeds of controversy in the Middle East for the next 20, 30 years.
What if
That
it's
just
the
seems like a
51st state,
very
though?
even that be the same thing, right? If you made it the 51st state, it'd be a big thing. So to me, that seemed like such a like a wow, that's such a crazy idea, and I would assume that so many on Trump's side would be very counter this notion. At least he ran counter this notion. Maybe he could sell it to them. So I assumed it was just like, oh, it's like a negotiation tactic. But then when I watched the press conference, I mean, I don't know, either it changed my mind because he's really selling it hard. So maybe he's like a really good salesman and he's just, tricking me and everyone else who's listening. But it did change my mind listening to him talk about it. And it seems like it's something that he's really in favor of,
Right.
in my opinion. And also because this is something that he's talked about for a long time in terms of like how beautiful the land is and how well it should be developed and all this other stuff. It's free beach real estate, it's prime real estate and all this stuff.
If they
And
offer people new homes in Jordan, what incentives do you have to offer people to get them to sign up willingly? Like there has to be something, right?
it's difficult because like obviously on a completely like if we remove emotion from all this and we just look at it like a pure practical Vulcan logic level, if you could say to the people of Gaza, hey, your entire area has been like reduced to rubble essentially. You're living in these like, I'm sure you're living in these horrible conditions in these little camps. You know, the US government or the surrounding Arab countries will build nice communities that you can live in Egypt and Jordan and all, and Syria and all these other places. And you can move there and they actually are nice, well built places and the countries accept them with open arms. Like, yeah, obviously I think that would be very like that'd be like a great thing for people to do. I'm just skeptical because we don't live in that logical Vulcan rational world. People are very emotional. So much of their identity and the politics of the region is tied up in the Palestinian
Yeah, the
identity
war.
in the war and living in Gaza. So I feel like a lot of those people are just going to be very obstinate about it from that angle. And then from the other angle, I don't really think. I mean, Trump claims that he's talked to the surrounding Arab countries, and there's some of them are in favor of this. He didn't say who, but some of them are in favor of this. But I'm very skeptical of that. Because it like at least for the last ever since all this conflict started, Egypt, Jordan, Syria, like none of these countries really want anything to do with Palestinians. And
Yeah, we could
whenever
build them a nice place and they would be turning it into like a bomb making factory
exactly, because
like
that's
24 hours later. So that's why they don't want it. They're just like, look, it's a nice
exactly.
suburban neighborhood. Oh, look in this garage. Oh, shit.
Right, because that's essentially what happened with Hezbollah. That's what happened, when the Palestinian terrorist organizations killed the king of Jordan. Like all these
Yep.
surrounding countries have had so much conflict with the Palestinians that I'm very skeptical that they'd be on board with this like kind of magical idea that we're gonna like open them. We're gonna welcome all 1.7 million people into the surrounding country with open arms and build them wonderful communities.
Yeah, exactly.
It,
Sounds
it's
good. Sounds good on paper. Yeah, I'm
right,
skeptical
right,
this is going to work.
yeah, yeah. So okay, so let's watch. I have a bunch of time codes, so we'll jump around here, but let's kind of get a flavor of this.
So bad for the people anywhere near it, and especially those who live there. and frankly, who's been really very unlucky. It's been very unlucky. It's been an unlucky place for a long time. Being in its presence just has not been good, and it should not go through a process of rebuilding and occupation by the same people that have really stood there and fought for it and lived there and died there and lived a miserable existence there. Instead, we should go to other countries of interest with humanitarian hearts, and there are many of them that want to do this, and build various domains that will ultimately be occupied by the 1.8 million Palestinians living in Gaza, ending the death and destruction and, frankly, bad luck. This can be paid for by neighboring countries of great wealth. It could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 12. It could be numerous sites, or it could be one large site. But the people will be able to live in comfort and peace, and we'll make sure something really spectacular is done. They're going to have peace. They're not going to be shot at and killed and destroyed like this civilization of wonderful people has had to endure. The only reason the Palestinians want to go back to Gaza is they have no alternative. It's right now a demolition site. This is just a demolition site. Virtually every building is down. They're living under fallen concrete that's very dangerous and very precarious. They instead can occupy all of a beautiful area with homes and safety, and they can live out their lives in peace and harmony instead of having to go back and do it again. The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it, too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site, level the site and get rid of the destroyed buildings, level it out, create an economic development that will supply unlimited numbers of jobs and housing for the people of the area. Do a real job, do something different. Just can't go back. If you go back, it's going to end up the same way it has for 100 years. I'm hopeful that this ceasefire could be the beginning of a larger and more enduring peace that will end the bloodshed and killing once and for all. With the same goal in mind, my administration has been moving quickly to restore trust in the alliance and rebuild American strength throughout the region, and we've really done that. We're a respected nation again. A lot's happened in the last couple of weeks. We are actually a very respected nation again.
Okay, let me jump ahead.
But
here.
no Biden insults? Come on.
Yeah, I mean, he does throw a lot of jabs at Biden throughout the press conference, and there's actually a question where it's funny. Like someone asked, I think it's like the Fox News guy. He's like, Bibi, both Biden and Trump have taken credit for release of the hostages. Who do you think is responsible?
Wow.
And he looks at Trump. He's like, Donald Trump is the savior of Israel.
Yeah, no. How could
Like,
they think that was going to go any other way?
I mean, it was intentional, obviously, but so I am very. So again, this really just doesn't seem feasible to me. This idea that the surrounding countries are going to take them. Saudi Arabia has already released some statement saying that they're not on board with this pretty strongly. I am curious to see what the other statements from other countries are. I don't like the word is now, obviously you don't know, but the word is that this is like that this plan was held very close to the chest in the Trump camp. So there doesn't seem like a lot of the surrounding Arab countries have had conversations with Trump about this topic specifically as of yet. But we'll see.
This is the opening bid right here that he's trying to entice him to come in and accept an offer.
Right. Yes, and that is part of the idea that people have talked about. That is this the negotiation strategy? Is this the opening bid? But then I guess the question is, what if this is the opening bid? What is the
they want to get that foreign aid
deal?
money, man.
Right.
Jordan is like, oh my God, billions of dollars from the United States every month. That sounds like a sweetheart deal for these people. All they got to do is keep the populace in line, bust some heads from time to time.
Isn't it hilarious? I thought the exact same thing. It's like we've had this huge conversation about how U.S. aid sucks, how foreign aid sucks, how we should get
You
rid
and
of it.
I have had that conversation.
Well,
Nobody
even
else
though
is having that conversation.
even no, yeah, I mean, we've talked about it, but I mean, let's look. A lot of people on the right have been saying that all this, we need to get rid of all this U.S. foreign aid. It's all corrupt. It all sucks. Blah 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 blah. And now it's like this deal would basically require some massive infusion of U.S. foreign aid, of us essentially paying off Jordan, Egypt, Syria, Lebanon to do this, and it's going to create the exact same problem. We're going to pay them a bunch of money to build a bunch of nice houses, for the Palestinians, and they're not going to fucking do it. Obviously, why would they do that? They have no benefit to do that.
Look, they're going to build shithole apartments,
Yes.
stack them in there, and
Yep.
now you've got 3 different countries that are building terrorist cells.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. Well,
God, it's so, oh man, it's just a horrible problem.
What do you think? Because this is what, like, the main opinion seems to be so far that I've seen in terms of defending this idea is that, well, is the negotiation. This is a negotiation. This is the opening gambit. And I understand the thought process, because Trump definitely engages in that behavior a lot. He'll throw out the very hard, extreme option at first and then try to work it back. I mean, we saw this sort of with the tariffs and other things like that. But what are we working back to, I guess, is my question.
Mm-hmm.
Because even if we were to say, like, okay, America controlling it, maybe that's the work back. Like, both he and Netanyahu seem pretty set on making the Palestinians leave.
So it's like, okay, look, if Harris was elected, I mean, Israel would just be doing whatever they wanted to. Right, they would be doing the ethnic cleansing option.
Well, if Harris was elected, it would be like this weird, Israel would want them to be ethnically cleansed. Harris would try to, I don't know if it'd be feckless or effective, but she would obviously not. She couldn't politically agree with that. You're gonna have to provide some political pushback. Trump just is like 100% like rah rah rah, get him out of here. I don't see where the negotiation backwalk is to that point. It seems to me that Israel is 100% serious and on board with the idea of removing the Palestinians. I don't know where the quote walk back from that position is.
They could just come here. They could be Americans.
Oh, that's a terrible idea.
I know. Trump go against all of his campaign promises about immigration, right?
Right.
Yeah. No, it's going to be a tall order to get any other nation to accept them, because these people are, even in the area, considered the troublemakers, right? These are the ones that have been raised from birth to hate Jewish people and want to raise Cain and kill people.
Right. Okay, so a lot of people, and I understand why, they just saw the clips, they didn't watch the actual press conference. They were like looking at Netanyahu's face, because he makes kind of weird faces. He kind of has resting bitch face in a lot of the shots. So they were like, oh my God, even Netanyahu didn't know that Trump was going to say this. He totally caught him by surprise. Netanyahu's upset. He's angry about this. I heard a lot of people saying this, right?
Bullshit.
Yeah, if you actually watch the press conference, that is 100% not the case. He completely knew what this was going into this, and he's praising this concept, this idea from the mountaintops. Okay, so let me play that clip for you guys.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm honored that you invited me to be the first foreign leader to visit the White House in your second term. This is a testament to your friendship and support for the Jewish state and the Jewish people. I've said this before, I'll say it again. You are the greatest friend Israel has ever had in the White House.
See, that's what I heard, because I listened to the press conference.
Right.
I was like, yeah, exactly.
Well, he says something, and Trump is obviously reading a prepared statement, because he's looking down. Netanyahu says something that very, very clearly shows that he knew exactly what was going to be said in this press conference.
Okay.
And that's why the people of Israel have such enormous respect for you. In your first term, you recognized Jerusalem as Israel's capital. You moved the American embassy there. You recognized Israel's sovereignty over the Golan Heights. You withdrew from the disastrous Iran nuclear deal. I remember we spoke about it You said, this is the worst deal I've ever seen. I'm elected, I'm walking out of it. That's exactly what you did. And I think it speaks loudly for just common sense, just looking at things and seeing them as they are. And of course, you also brokered the groundbreaking Abraham Accords in which Israel made peace with 4 Arab states. We did this in 4 months. Nothing happened for a quarter of a century, but in 4 months, we were able, working together under your leadership, to have 4 historic peace accords. And now in the first days of your second term, you picked up right where you left off.
Okay, so this is the butter up phase. So this is all just like Donald Trump is the greatest person ever alive phase of the conversation. So
Right.
jump
He's
in.
king of the world. Look at this.
Yeah. Which, I mean, again, that shows he's obviously very, very happy with the direction that this is going, and he wants to be on Trump's good side. So I am curious to go back and see like foreign leaders talking to Bush or Obama or Clinton. Is it like normal that they like have like that they butter them up in these press conferences? Is that like a normal thing, or is this like a Trump specific thing?
I'm not sure. Obviously, I mean, Trump just gave Bibi Netanyahu the fucking world. So
He did. Yeah.
obviously
did.
he's gonna be super thankful for that. So
Right.
yeah.
Our future and bring peace to our region, we have to finish the job. In Gaza, Israel has 3 goals: destroy Hamas's military and governing capabilities, secure the release of all of our hostages, and ensure that Gaza never again poses a threat to Israel. I believe, Mr. President, that your willingness to puncture conventional thinking that has failed time and time and time again, your willingness to think outside the box with fresh ideas will help us achieve all these goals. And I've seen you do this many times. You cut to the chase. You see things others refuse to see. You say things others refuse to say. And after the jaws drop, people scratch their heads and they say, he's right. And this is the kind of thinking that enabled us to bring the Abraham Accords. This is the kind of thinking that will reshape the Middle East and bring peace. We also...
So based on that, I mean, it should be pretty clear that he knew what was going to be said in this press conference. He was not caught off guard. He was not surprised. This whole like Trump says wild, crazy things, and then everyone's on board with it, which is obviously what this entire idea is.
Yeah, they're just going by their stereotype of Trump.
Mhm.
This is obviously all pre-planned. We covered a podcast long ago, I think before Trump was even running, where Trump seemed to be very empathetic with the Palestinian people and the Arab people in general, and thought that Bibi Netanyahu was
kind of a jerk.
the one preventing peace from happening.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if there have been any talks with the other side of this equation before this happens.
It's weird because we saw that podcast. That podcast was based on some reporting, which the reporting seemed credible at the time, but ever since that reporting, I don't know. I wonder if some parts of it I think are true. I do think Trump is sympathetic to the Palestinian people, even the way that he talks about the wanting the people to live better lives. I think that's genuine. I think it's not going to work, but I think it's a genuine feeling. I think that might be true. I'm not sure about this, like him having this dislike, this hatred of Bibi Netanyahu. That doesn't seem to be true, or at least if it is true, we've seen like no indication of it publicly ever since that article came out that we were or that podcast came out that we're listening to.
Well, I didn't say that he didn't like Bibi Netanyahu.
Well, the podcast said that, yeah.
Well, in the podcast, I think he just said he felt Bibi Netanyahu was standing in the way of making some sort of peace arrangement. That Bibi Netanyahu didn't want it. Bibi Netanyahu wanted basically to take over the area. But Bibi Netanyahu's getting what he wants now. So,
well, yeah, because in that for those that don't remember the podcast, it was about, it was some journalists that were claiming this was about how the Abraham Accords came into fruition to basically stop Israel from annexing the West, not Gaza, but the West Bank, essentially annexing giant swaths
Yep.
of the West Bank. And that, Trump and Jared, and I forget the other guy's name, who were kind of involved with this, were like very annoyed with Bibi because Trump did those, switching the capital to Jerusalem and made other overtures to Israel. And he felt like, and he had given Bibi Netanyahu all these things without asking for something specific in return. It was sort of like I'm going to give you something and then maybe you'll do something for me in the future. And he felt like he was being, basically dissed, or there was no reciprocation of that
Yeah.
until they
That's a
kind
good
of were
summary.
right, until they were able to they kind of stumbled upon the negotiate the Abraham Accords negotiations and normalizing trade relations with some of the surrounding countries by accident.
Right. But BB's not telling you any of that. BB's not telling you he was the one
No.
standing in the way of the Abraham Accords.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So
Okay. So let's listen to some of the question and answer portion of this.
the whole thing is, I really don't know how you determine how many people, like the Palestinian people, have kind of been pawns in the
Yes.
whole. All of the Arab nations are deeply against Israel even existing, and they've kind of used the Palestinian people as pawns in this greater conflict between them. So I don't know how many of the Palestinian people want out of that conflict, so are sympathetic to kind of moving on, and how many are going to be revenge oriented for the rest of their lives. So much of it is splitting the population into those two camps. So,
well,
yeah,
I wonder if you could do something where you say, okay, those that want to relocate can relocate. If you don't want to relocate, you can stay and roll the dice and see what happens.
yeah, they're going to get people though that are the revenge faction that will relocate,
Planning
and
to do revenge.
yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Right.
So that's the problem.
Yeah.
You need like the mind reader.
Right.
I guess you
right.
could just deal with him as a criminal element in the new country.
Well, the big problem, like, again, it's like logically, logistically, practically, I understand the thought process here. It's not even something I necessarily disagree with on some sort of like super emotionally detached level. It's hard for me to imagine that the surrounding countries are going to agree to this. And if they do, we're going to have to give them so much for them to agree to the situation. And then it kind of breeds the, begs the question, well, what are we getting out of it? Like, why are we doing Israel's dirty work essentially by doing this? What are we going to get back from Israel? Or is
Be
it just
Trump
this
property.
idea that we're going to we're going to get a bunch of money from Gaza? Like, I don't think that's
I mean,
going to pan
tourism
out.
in Gaza might be really lucrative for that sovereign wealth fund.
Yeah, but you're talking about you're like theoretically, yes, but is it going to be like, or is it literally going to be a government run town, or is it going to be a private town that we just tax the fucking hell and make a bunch of money off of, and then that's going to have to offset whatever billions of dollars it takes to build it up, to pay off all these surrounding countries till the end of time, to take in these refugees, and then also there's going to be massive security concerns because I don't think those people are going to go quietly into the night and live peaceful lives in these countries. I think it's going to be pretty nonstop terrorism.
Well, resolving the security threat is the number one issue. Like
Yes.
that they don't want to take the people because they are a security threat. These are troublemakers, right? What is Trump always saying? They're, sending their criminals, right? They're murderers, they're rapists to America.
Right, exactly.
I mean, this is basically the same thing, right? They're like, let's ship their criminals, murderers, and rapists over to Jordan. Jordan doesn't want that. So the security threat is the thing that is going to be more negotiated. I don't know how much a piece of land like that is worth as far as tourism goes, or
it's
how much
worth
revenue it can raise. Yeah, exactly.
It's,
So
it's in a good location. It's in Israel. It's just a lot of people like to go there for tourism reasons anyway.
just look, and this is something I do like about Trump, that he does think outside the box, outside of conventional ways. I mean, just saying, how are we going to do it? Do we tax the tourism? Is it going to be government run? Is it going to be privately owned? All that stuff is to be worked out. I think the thing to focus on is like how much wealth Can that area produce?
Well, yeah, but it
Like,
depends. You have to be careful because I understand what you're saying, but you don't want it to be like well, it depends who you are, whether you want it to be like this. But as an American voter, as a taxpayer, I don't want it to be a situation where, hypothetically, America, does this. They spend all the money and blood to build up Gaza and protect it and make it profitable, and then all that money just goes to the hands of like the Trump, private corporation or whatever private, resorts that Trump is friendly with or gets buyoffs from that are involved in the situation. Like if America's going to do this, it has to benefit America.
yeah, that's why the idea of the sovereign wealth fund is more feasible, obviously. Like if Trump says, we're going to do this with the American military and build Trump hotels, like
Right, exactly.
that's going to be an impossible sell. So, but do you really think Trump is going to be? You think that's going to be the bid?
I don't. I mean, I don't think this is going to happen.
Right.
So because going to the whole like this is the hard negotiation tactic, and when I say, well, I could believe that, but I don't see where the drawback is. Because I was very curious. I listened to Scott Adams today. I haven't been listening to him a lot recently, but I listened to him today because I'm like, okay, Scott Adams is like the Trump whisperer. He's the Trump. He's like the top tier, like Trump Coper. Everything is 10-dimensional chess. Like, what plan is he think that's really secretly going on here?
Mm-hmm.
And so
I'm dying to hear it. This sounds
so he
good.
was, and it's funny because he's like, well, last night when I heard this, I thought it was a terrible idea, but then I slept on it, and I'm like, no, it all makes sense now. I'm like, perfect. Okay, this is exactly what I wanted. He's saying that he thinks that Trump is basically pushing an idea that nobody wants. That's such an idea that everyone hates. That's going to that he's going to be basically the giant squid from Watchmen. He's going to be the enemy of Israel and everyone else by saying we're going to just you guys can't do it. We're going to take your toys and go home. We're going to turn this car around. And that's going to force them all to finally come to some kind of agreement. That was his argument.
Mm-hmm.
I find two flaws with it. Number one, he obviously didn't watch the press conference. He just watched the clips because if you watch the press conference, Bibi Netanyahu does not hate this idea. He loves this idea. Okay, so he's wrong on that. It's a huge fact problem. And number two, in terms of like what you would like, there's some sense, there's logic to saying, okay, like America's going to float an idea that the surrounding Arab countries hate so much that it forces them to do something else. Like that makes sense. But the problem is they have to come to some agreement with Israel. If Israel loves this idea and the surrounding Arab countries hate it, like that creates so much pushback to any sort of deal walk back position that the surrounding Arab countries would be involved in. Because I honestly think like Netanyahu is a person who 100% wants to ethnically cleanse the Palestinians from Gaza. He 100% wants the region to be controlled either by Israel or America. So
Aren't
I'm
there
not sure like
Palestinians in Israel? I don't know the specific demographics. So.
Yeah, there's like 20% I think of the population is
okay.
Palestinian. So I don't that's to me Netanyahu is like the big hold up to any of these sort of like this is the hard negotiation tactic because I don't see him walking back from this.
Look, Israel ultimately is going to govern it. I mean, they might be offering America as governing it as some sort of intermediate step, but it's hard for me to imagine Israel is not going to govern the area. Ultimately, you agree with that, right?
Well, that's not really what Trump is suggesting. That it seems like it's indefinite. That it'd be America controlled.
Right. No, I know that right. I'm asking you what
I don't
you think is going to happen.
I think Netanyahu and almost anyone in Israel would be completely 100% fine with America completely controlling and running Gaza. And in fact, I actually think it's probably better for them.
Well, that's a nice intermediate step then, obviously. Well, that may or may, I mean, it may be indefinite, it may be intermediate.
Yeah, it could be like a Hong Kong situation. They're like 90 years, we'll give it back to Israel, right?
Right. Ultimately, they want good government, good governance, and good law enforcement in the area. That's what they're ultimately after.
Yes. They don't really care, if they control it or America controls it. And actually, in the short term, America controlling it it's like if there's any terrorism, if there's any problems, then it's like, well, then it's America's job to get rid of it, right? Kind of takes it out of Israel's hands.
Of course, yeah. But this sets up a dynamic where they're basically saying, well, this is going to happen. The question is, what is going to happen to the people that are there?
Right.
And they're saying, look, we've got the good options that you can accept, or there might be some unthinkable options that nobody wants to talk about. Right.
But I guess the question that I'm for the people that think this is the negotiation tactic, which, as I said, like there's a logic to it, it makes sense. I don't know what the quote good option is that the other countries would be in favor
Well,
of.
they haven't carved out the good option yet. This is
Right.
like a in progress negotiation, obviously.
Of course,
So
yeah.
I think Trump is going out on a limb somewhat here, hoping that the good option is going to materialize. I do think, I mean, how nervous are the other nations going to be if America is setting up shop right there in Gaza? I think that might be a more pressing threat for them. Because look, obviously, we're going to build a giant military base right in the fucking middle of it, right? We're going to have like all kinds of. We're going to have all kinds of airports, runways, all sorts of surveillance devices. Like, oh my God, that could put amazing pressure on the countries that we want to actually take the people, right?
No, that's a great point. It would definitely give America like even stronger influence in the region. Do the surrounding Arab countries want that?
Probably not.
Yeah. And then also it's going to create a lot more conflict because like say like theoretically, hypothetically, Egypt, Jordan, Lebanon, Syria, whatever, who all the other surrounding countries, say they theoretically are like, we give them some massive bribe. We give them each $10 billion a year. They all accept this deal or whatever. Like, not only are they going to have to contend with now the Palestinian population probably going to be engaged in a lot of terrorist activities, but like Iran's going to go like bananas. They're going to be funding terrorism like, times 1,000.
Why don't we just put them in Iran?
Now, right? There's going to be all the, like, I feel like a lot of the native citizens of, a lot of the Egyptians, the Jordanese, and all these people, like a lot of these people are really, their own identity, their own religious, thoughts are kind of tied up in the Israel-Palestine situation too. That's going to cause massive instability, I think, if any of these countries like accept this deal. They're going to be really mad at their own leaders. That's going to cause, their own internal terrorist problems.
Well, first of all, they're all authoritarian regimes, right? There's not
right, but they still don't want the Arab Spring, 2.0 situation brewing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I would have to look at the details of the situation. I mean, Iran has a bunch of radicals already.
Right.
Yeah, look, they don't want them, obviously. So it's going to take a lot of incentive to get this to work. I think it's obvious that the first piece of incentive on the table is Israel governs Gaza or the U.S. governs Gaza, which I think the Arab nations are probably like, oh my God, Israel, let them have Gaza, right?
I don't know. That's an interesting question because on one hand, they might be like, we don't want American like control and influence in the region.
Right.
Like, that makes perfect sense. But on the other hand, at least under Netanyahu, I would imagine that Saudi Arabia and the other Arab countries would much more likely and much more happier working with America than Netanyahu.
Okay.
So,
well, they just have to have a preference for it to be a bargaining chip, right?
Right. I'm not sure I'm not sure how they would calculate that. Because then also Netanyahu might go to jail or not be, prime minister very much longer. So who knows who replaces him at this point. There's one question that I'm kind of surprised that no one asked here or in the other press conference about this, which to me was like immediately formed in my mind, which is, okay, there are still like 60 or 70 hostages in Gaza right now.
Horrible.
Okay. And there's we had the ceasefire deal, or they had the ceasefire deal going on. Why, like, announcing this before the hostages come out, doesn't this sort of like doom the ability to work out any future deal? Because as long as this assuming this is real and not just some sort of like crazy negotiation tactic, which is a big if this is a real plan, Hamas will never ever agree to any ceasefire ever again until this plan is taken off the table. Period. And like, right? Like, why? How could they? Hamas's whole brand, their whole goal of existence is, we need a Palestinian state. And here you have Trump and Netanyahu saying there's not going to be a Palestinian state. Period. Doesn't that kind of like completely remove their negotiation power of getting hostages back?
Sure. I mean, they got some hostages back. They didn't get them all back. So.
No, I'm saying the remaining 60 to 70 hostages.
Yeah.
Like, I just feel like that's why this is kind of strange
to me. It totally
sucks. Is that I'm wondering if this is a scenario where they either have just given up on getting those hostages back. I'm wondering if this is supposed to be some kind of 10D chess move from Netanyahu to sort of try to piss off Hamas enough to have them break the ceasefire to then further justify, wiping the rest of the people out in Gaza or something. Because I could definitely, like, this is a very provocative move. Yeah. In this kind of tense negotiation period to engage in.
So, but they can't just sit around and wait. I mean, I don't know where we're at in the negotiations for the hostages. They gave a bunch of hostages back. The ceasefire is still holding, I guess. But as long as they're not giving up hostages, I mean, why does Israel want to continue the ceasefire?
Well, the goal would be that they just got hostages recently. So you think that they can maybe
get some more?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know obviously we don't know what the situation is on the ground.
I don't know what the timetable is.
You're right. And
I don't know the intel on the hostages. I mean, some of them have to be dead, right?
Yeah, some of them are dead. I highly doubt that this entire plan is all just some concoction just to get the hostages back, and they'll make some agreement. They'll say, okay, we'll scrap that plan to get the hostages back. Like, I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think the hostages are even really a thought in this.
A puzzle piece that anyone cares about, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could be right.
Well, I don't think it's going to, I mean, politics are driving this timetable, not the hostages.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, let's just hear some of these questions.
Can a normalization deal with Saudi Arabia be achieved without the acknowledgement of a Palestinian state? That question for you too, Mr. Prime Minister. And Mr. President, given what you've said about Gaza, did the U.S. send troops to help secure the security vacuum?
So Saudi Arabia is going to be very helpful, and they have been very helpful. They want peace in the Middle East. It's very simple. We know their leader and their leaders very well. They're wonderful people, and they want peace in the Middle East. As far as Gaza is concerned, we'll do what is necessary. If it's necessary, we'll do that. We're going to take over that peace, and we're going to develop it, create thousands and thousands of jobs, and it'll be something that the entire Middle East can be very proud of. But everybody feels that continuing the same process that's gone on forever, over and over again, and then it starts, and then the killing starts, and all of the other problems start, and you end up in the same place, and we don't want to see that happen. So by the United States, with its stability and strength, owning it, especially the strength that we're developing and developed over the last fairly short period of time, I would say really since the election, I think we'll be a great keeper of something that is very, very strong, very powerful, and very, very good for the area, not just for Israel, for the entire Middle East. Very important. And we'll, again, have thousands of jobs, and there'll be jobs for everyone, not for a specific group of people, but for everybody. Okay, please.
So, now obviously any of these things can be up for negotiation, but so far, Saudi Arabia says that they will not normalize relations with Israel without a firm commitment to Palestinian statehood. Apparently, the president of Egypt has had a phone call with Trump where he rejected any proposal that would force Palestinians out of Gaza, especially into Egypt. The king of Jordan is supposed to meet Trump soon, next week, and is also strongly opposed to this plan, reporting that there's a requirement for recognizing Palestinian statehood.
Right.
So,
the cat's on the roof.
Yeah.
A cat is on the roof. We utterly reject this proposal out of hand. How dare you even suggest such a thing? I mean,
mhm.
they would. That's the answer that they have to give, obviously. So,
Of course.
yes.
Well,
Look,
I don't know. Could
Egypt
they?
got on the phone with him, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Could they
Wonder what they
reject
talked
it
about.
out of hand and then completely walk it back later? Or is that going to make them look too weak to their own people? I mean, I know two of those countries are royalties, so you say, well, who cares? But I mean, they still care about these things.
They don't care about the people.
I don't think that's
Public
accurate.
opinion? You think they care about public opinion?
I do, yeah.
Okay. Because they're worried about getting thrown. They're
Yes,
worried
of
about
course.
people rioting in the streets.
They don't want to get overthrown.
Yeah.
There's always
I-
power
I'm
plays
s-
going on here behind the scenes.
Yeah, I don't know how much. Yeah, look, obviously, the Game of Thrones always exists. It's always there. I don't know how the military feels about it. I don't know how much they have the military on lockdown. I have no idea. So I'm only able to speculate on any of this stuff. So
I think the problem is that probably in reality, and it's very fucked up to say this, I think Egypt, Jordan, and all the other surrounding countries would probably prefer if Israel just killed all the Palestinians. I think that would be what they would prefer themselves.
I agree. I totally agree.
Foreign territory. What authority would allow you to do that? Are you talking about a permanent occupation there?
It's so it's so insidious because all of the statements come out and completely glaze the Palestinian people. Oh my God. We wouldn't be a part of anything that didn't involve a state for the Palestinian people, right?
And
But
they
both
hate
of
them.
us agree.
They fucking hate them. Yeah, I know.
But both of us agree that if Israel just killed all the Palestinian people off, all of those states would be much more comfortable.
They'd be like, "Oh, that's so horrible, Israel. You're like so evil." Anyway,
Yeah,
back to the
anyway.
daily life of business here.
Can we get back to what our new trade negotiations?
Yeah, exactly. Be like,
They
so
just
bored.
want Israel to do the dirty work. Yeah, look,
Exactly.
that's the fucking world we live in.
I know.
That is the world we live in. It's all the cover story and the fucking reality of it.
But see, that does show that they do care about their perception in the world and to their own people. Because otherwise, they didn't. They just say, "Wipe them out. We don't give a shit," right?
I know. So bad.
Development. And Mr. Prime Minister, do you see this idea as a way to expand the boundaries of Israel and to have a longer peace, even though the Israeli people know how important that land is to you and your citizens, just as the space is inherited by the Palestinians as well?
I do see a long-term ownership position, and I see it bringing great stability to that part of the Middle East and maybe the entire Middle East. And everybody I've spoken to, this was not a decision made lightly. Everybody I've spoken to loves the idea of the United States owning that piece of land, developing and creating thousands of jobs with something that will be magnificent in a really magnificent area that nobody would know. Nobody can look because all they see is death and destruction and rubble and demolished buildings falling all over. It's just a terrible sight. I've studied it. I've studied this very closely over a lot of months, and I've seen it from every different angle, and it's a very, very dangerous place to be, and it's only going to get worse. And I think this is an idea that's gotten tremendous, and I'm talking about from the highest level of leadership, gotten tremendous praise. And if the United States can help to bring stability and peace in the Middle East, we'll do that. Bibi?
I mentioned again,
So just to be clear, I mean, at least the language he's using is strongly suggesting he wants this to be a forever colony of America or under the territorial control of America. So
Yeah, look, that's the sales pitch. You gotta aim high.
right.
Aim high.
tonight are three goals, and the third goal is to make sure that Gaza never poses a threat to Israel again. President Trump is taking it to a much higher level. He sees a different future for that piece of land that has been the focus of so much terrorism so many attacks against us, so many trials and so many tribulations. He has a different idea. And I think it's worth paying attention to this. We're talking about it. He's exploring it with his people, with his staff. I think it's something that could change history. And it's worthwhile really pursuing this avenue.
Yeah, please, go ahead. Go ahead. Right.
Okay, so Netanyahu seems to be 100% on board with this concept. Let me jump ahead here.
Well, you know, you can't keep trying. They just has been going along for so many decades, you can't even count. You just can't keep doing. You have to learn from history. You can't keep doing the same mistake over and over again. Gaza is a hellhole right now. It was before the bombing started, frankly, and we're going to give people a chance to live in a beautiful community that's safe and secure, and I think you're going to see a tremendous outflowing of support. I can tell you, I spoke to other leaders of countries in the Middle East, and they love the idea. They say it would really bring stability, and what we need is stability. Yes, sir, please.
I would like to know which countries he was talking to. That said
Yeah.
that. I'm a little skeptical. Okay.
We're saying about the Gazans leaving Gaza, going to other countries. One, where exactly are you suggesting that they should go? And two, are you saying they should return after it's rebuilt? And if not, who do you envision living there?
I envision a world, people living there, the world's people. I think you'll make that in.
It's like that. The world's people will live in Gaza. The world's people.
To an international, unbelievable place. I think the potential in the Gaza Strip is unbelievable. And I think the entire world, representatives from all over the world will be there, and they'll live there. Palestinians also. Palestinians will live there. Many people will live there. But they've tried the other, and they've tried it for decades and decades and decades. It's not going to work. It didn't work. It will never work. And you have to learn from history. History has, you just can't let it keep repeating itself. We have an opportunity to do something that could be phenomenal. And I don't want to be cute. I don't want to be a wise guy, but the Riviera of the Middle East, this could be something that could be so bad. This could be so magnificent. But more importantly than that is the people that have been absolutely destroyed that live there now can live in peace in a much better situation, because they're living in hell. And those people will now be able to live in peace. We'll make sure that it's done world class. It'll be wonderful for the people. Palestinians mostly we're talking about. And I have a feeling that despite them saying no, I have a feeling that the king in Jordan and that the general president, but that the general in Egypt will open their hearts and will give us the kind of land that we need to get this done, and people can live in harmony and in peace. Thank you all very much.
Oh
They're going to
my
open
God.
their hearts.
This is, look, he's just a fucking salesman, Sitch.
I know.
He's selling his little heart out there.
He is. He is.
Just imagine it. Imagine it.
Listen, it's a beautiful dream. Okay.
It is, yeah.
It's a beautiful dream.
Look,
I
you
think-
got to imagine it before it can be real.
Of course. I do agree with the concept of like that he's saying about you can't just keep doing the same thing over and over again. It's not going to work.
Of
I think
course.
I think that's totally true. As I said, this idea makes sense on some sort of Vulcan logic paper level. It's just like I can't imagine the surrounding countries agreeing to this. It's hard for me to imagine that like a lot of the Palestinians are going to agree to this themselves.
Of course they're not going to agree.
It kind of feels like the
do
whole
they have a choice? I
No.
mean, that's where we're headed. Okay.
right, but it kind of to me feels like the sort of why don't we just build homes for the homeless like answer. And you're like, well, it's not that simple.
Yeah,
Like,
look, that's a perfect example, because there is a criminal element. And the problem with Gaza is the criminal element runs the place.
Yes.
They're in charge. They are the law.
And those people are going to fight to the last breath to maintain their power.
Well, a lot of
essentially.
them, let's be honest, a lot of them have been killed already
Of
in
course.
the exchange.
Right.
I don't know the intel numbers on that. I'm sure Bibi Netanyahu knows. He knows how many of the bad guys are left, how many of the people who are not going to go willingly no matter what because they're losing tangible power in the area,
Right.
right?
Right.
So as soon as they get those people, look, when we went into Iraq, they made up the deck of cards. They're like, here is the power structure, right?
Exactly.
There always is underlings that are ready to step up and fill those spots.
Yep.
But I mean, their goal seems to be kill all the underlings that step up. I don't know how far along we are in that process. Like I said, politics is driving this timeline. Obviously, Trump just got into office. He wants to do big things. He wants all those big things to be started now, early in his administration. How
Mhm.
far he can make it along on those big things is an open question. So it's hard for me to say how far along Bibi Netanyahu is on that project of dismantling the power structure in Gaza. Like he could be 90% there. He could be 20% there. I don't know. Because
There. Mhm.
like the time to come in and do this is when you're 90% there, obviously. But like I said,
Right.
politics is running this.
Well, first, in terms of the timescale for Trump, there is a kind of, a genius to trying to do all these things super quick because I think what happens is that, the presidents, they come into office, or this is true for any shakeup, any new CEO or whatever, they have a bunch of new ideas. They have a lot of political capital right in the beginning to push for the ideas. And part of the thing that destroys their political capital over time is that you start to see whether these ideas succeed or fail. If they
Yeah, that's a
succeed,
good point.
yeah, if they succeed, then it's like they continue to have power. People like, oh, that guy knows what he's doing. They're succeeding. But if they try to do a lot of things and start failing, people will start to back away because they're like, okay,
From the
do I
new
really want to?
things. Yeah.
Yeah, do I, I don't really trust this guy. Do I really want to associate this, my name with this guy is failing? And so if you do all these like big things, or if you start to get these big things moving
Simultaneously.
at the
Yeah.
same time, it's
Some
like
will
no one.
succeed, some will fail, and you can
Right.
point to the successes.
Yes. And also because then there's no failures yet to point to dissuade people or demotivate people from being involved in these projects because it's all
That is
too
a
early.
fabulous point. Yes.
So I think that's definitely part of what's going on here in terms of the Hamas situation. I guess the problem is not just exactly what you're talking about. There's always that, there's that kind of the churning of people that can replace is, what you said earlier, which is like, even if theoretically all these countries agree to this, a lot of the people who are the terrorists, who are the criminal element, they're going to pretend they're not. They're going to go into the other countries and then they're
Oh,
going to
yeah.
start trying to create terror cells there. And all those countries know that's going to happen. It's happened in the past. And if we had like a theoretical magical situation where you could like if you had the technology or we had replicators and you could press a button and you could just pop up like a full like amazing city in the desert and people like literally move from rubble to that, then I'd say okay, maybe that could work because the people will be like, wow, this is just so much better than the rebel situation. Oh, you want me to go like join your terrorist group? Like, fuck you, right? Even, because I think the material conditions, if they were so good, could overpower not everyone, but a lot of people's, ideologies and all that stuff. But I think the problem, realistically, what's going to happen is that that's not the case. They're going to move into like refugee camps and not the best living conditions. And that's going to like keep fomenting the anger and that mentality towards Israel, towards America, towards the governments that took them in, towards the countries that took them in. So it just seems like this would all just be a hotbed for, creating more and more terrorist cells.
Yeah. That's always the problem. I just
Wait a minute. Wait.
so much of politics is driven by just bureaucratic inertia. It's so fascinating how every single president always talks about their first 100 days, first 100 days. And Trump has completely redefined that metric. It's like my
Yes.
first 14 days.
Right.
Like and just the idea of the first 100 days. I mean, that kind of gives into the idea that things have to move slow, that government moves slow, right? Look,
Yeah.
I can barely accomplish anything in the first 100 days, right?
Right.
Yeah. I think Trump really is kind of redefining politics in America. And that I can see people reusing this strategy that you're bringing up, because there's nothing bad about it. There's nothing caustic about it that people can point to. It's a good idea to get a bunch of irons in the fire immediately
Yes.
and sing the praises of the successes and ignore the failures. But most of the time, people they think of it as, okay, we're going to work on this, and then we're going to work on this, and we're going to work on this. There's this like linear pattern that they choose just through democratic inertia, just through bureaucratic inertia, rather. So
Mm-hmm.
it's interesting.
Do you think, I didn't notice this until just now, do you think Netanyahu intentionally is wearing a red tie to kind of like emulate Trump?
And Trump got the blue tie.
Because he's wearing like the Trump red tie.
If I had to bet, I would bet that they actually talk about what color tie they're going to use wear ahead
So
of
they don't
time, so they
match.
don't look like, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm sure they do.
Can you imagine if they were both like wearing the exact same thing? Oh God, that would just completely undercut
It'd
the.
be hilarious. People are like, what's going on here? Okay.
Thinking about all of them. I mean, we're talking about probably, I
Oh, hold on.
think they're going to tell other people. No, I
So
don't
you think
they'll-
it will happen at the end?
I think there's a good chance. Yeah,
How
I'd like to
many
see it
people
happen.
are you thinking about?
Look at that, he hedges perfectly. I think it's a good chance.
Yeah, yeah. And the guy, it's kind of hard to hear. The question he's asking is, how many Palestinians do you think are going to be moved out of Gaza? Is the question.
Right.
All of them. I mean, we're talking
All of the
about
guys-
probably 1,000,007 people, 1,000,007, maybe 1,000,008. But I think all of them. I think they'll be resettled in areas where they can live a beautiful life and not be worried about dying every day.
Look at
7, maybe 1,000,008.
look at Netanyahu's face. He's like, oh, he's got like
I
a heart
love
on
this
right now.
man. I know.
He's
I
got
love
like a
this
giant
man.
chub right now. He's like, yes, all of these.
This
Yes,
is the
we do.
biggest. This is the heaviest lift here.
Yeah, yeah. And then I just thought this is I just think it's kind of funny. It's so weird. I posted this clip on Twitter. Trump talks about like the way he describes this. It's like when you talk about you're telling your child that like, oh, your dog's gonna live on a nice open farm in beautiful sunny skies, upstate New York somewhere.
A lot of people on the left who are super wrapped up in this Palestinian Gaza thing. They call
Right.
it a genocide. They've always called
Yeah.
it an open air prison, that kind
Yeah.
of thing. They are really losing their minds over this
Of course. Yeah,
exchange. Yeah.
I bet.
And I keep thinking, how long did they give the Hamas and the people of Gaza a chance to like build something there? It seems like they had their fucking opportunity.
It does. There's
Yeah.
there's a level of well, it's because it's always it's always Israel's fault situation.
Yeah, but
Right.
look, that's
how they're
bullshit.
framing.
That's completely bullshit. Look,
Of
that's the
course.
way that's hype and self-serving hype from the Palestinians, and I think from the uncritical people of the far left who just fucking lap it up.
Right.
Lap it up. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I agree with you. I mean, obviously, I think Israel definitely has a hand to play in doing a lot of bad shit. I think what they were doing in the West Bank with settlers is completely indefensible and definitely helps make peace impossible
Mm-hmm.
in the region. So I don't want to absolve Israel here, but I do agree that it's like, there comes a time where it's like, okay, for how many decades can this go on with, criminal elements continuing to control a region? And you say, well, you've lost your opportunity here. So
Yeah.
Thing's going to be death. The best way to do it is you go out and you get beautiful open areas with the sunlight coming through, and you build something nice. And they are not going to want to. They are not going to want to go back to Gaza.
Prime Minister,
there you go. We're gonna give them nice, beautiful open areas that they can graze in the grass all day, grass and sun as far as they can see. So
He's selling it. He's selling it. He's
Yeah.
totally selling it. So
I think it's funny in a dark way.
well, yeah, I guess it's not. Nobody knows the reality of the situation yet.
The look of love right there.
Yeah, totally.
situation?
This is kind of the equivalent of Obama saying, you're going to get to keep your doctor, right? The
Mhm.
chance that you're going to get to keep your doctor is pretty slim here, right?
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah. That's funny. Okay. Well, anything else to say before we read super chats here about the situation? I
I
think I
mean,
said all. I'm looking
not
at my notes
really.
here. Yeah, no, I don't see how they're gonna get the hostages back. I want to believe it's a negotiation tactic, but it's unclear to me what the walkback position would even be to this. I do think it's possible that they're saying it now because Netanyahu wants to bait Hamas into an attack to speed all this up, the process up.
I mean, I do hope for the rosy future. I mean, I think
Course.
there are places in the world that have been complete catastrophes that have
Right.
turned around, right? Like there was a war in South Korea, there's a war in South Vietnam. Those places are economically stable now and seem to be comfortable places to live.
Mm-hmm.
We need that sort of peace to come to this place as well. So,
Right.
and I do think a lot of conflict. I mean, this is like something that a lot of the American left is just, I think they're driving this conflict to a certain extent because they're so morally attached to it. It is their new like civil rights movement, their new oppressed group. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I forget who said this, but I do agree with it. Not just the American left, but for decades, the surrounding Arab countries, they basically created a situation where, after all the wars, the Palestinians couldn't just lose and surrender and give up. And so
yeah,
it kind of keeps the conflict in the forever limbo situation where they just keep getting annihilated again and again and again, as opposed to just losing, surrendering, and then
moving
living
on.
somewhere
Yeah,
else, assimilating to Israel, like some kind of permanent solution, coming to pass.
yeah.
So,
Germany lost a world war. Germany lost 2 world wars back to back.
right,
So
right.
we're still not dealing with conflict with Germany, right?
Yeah, Germany lost,
Yeah,
Japan lost. Countries lose wars and are
and we
able
move
to move
on.
forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
So ultimately, I think that has to happen. You obviously want it to happen in the most humanitarian way possible, but I mean, you can't look at October 7th and think, okay, it's
yeah, no,
just,
obviously.
yeah. A lot of people they seem to want to ignore the whole October 7th thing. So, but anyway, all right.
J Mac, our circuit father, thanks so much. Daddy J Mac for the $50 says, no matter how crazy life gets, there's no excuse to not get your gains. Always be lifting, apocalypse or not.
Definitely.
That is
That's
true.
important. I'm trying to work out upper body more too.
J Mac actually sent us a video,
On how
but
to
maybe
get
we'll
your
play it at the end of the super chats. It's a little humorous. So we should do the super chats first.
Uh-oh.
Jonathan Smith, thanks so much for the $20. Says, sorry, Adam, I confuse fractional reserve banking with the money multiplier effect. Sometimes they're used interchangeably. When you said the Fed ended fractional reserve banking yesterday, I thought you meant the multiplier effect, which is absolute.
Yes.
Well, there you go.
Thanks. Yeah, no. Interesting. I didn't know that they use those terms interchangeably. So
What is the money multiplier effect?
it's basically the same as the fractional reserve banking type situation.
No, okay.
It's very similar. Yes. Where banks can create money.
Yeah, okay.
You,
Yeah,
you know,
money
in
multiplier.
fractional reserve banking, banks are basically creating money, right? You
Right.
get that. They
Yes.
10x the money that they have in their vaults. Go ahead, read the definition.
Yeah, money multiplier process explains how an increase in the monetary base causes the money supply to increase by a multiplied amount.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense. Ure for $5 says, in the name of the king, Baldwin III, Gaza for him. There you go. I did listen for as you know, for as kind of messed up a situation is, there were a lot of good memes about the situation.
Yesterday?
Yes,
Oh.
including myself. The whole like, listen, Trump walks in the protesters and he's like, you guys have been saying free Palestine for years, so I thought it was free, so I just come and take it. Right?
No. No.
Listen, Trump was very confused. He went to the college campuses, everyone's going free Palestine, and he's looking around. He's like, I don't know why they're so mad about it being free.
Yeah.
That
like
darn
free
Kenneth.
money.
Exactly.
What's
hey, Kidda,
up,
what's
Kenneth?
up? Kidda for 22 months says meow, meow.
Meow.
Sammy was telling me that she keeps wanting me to watch. I haven't watched it yet. She says that there's this really good conversation / debate between Brianna Wu and Blair White. And I saw you did a breakdown of it. So
Yeah, I saw that too.
check it out. Tom Wayne from $5 says, have you ever covered any Bulwark videos? I don't think anyone would ever accuse Sitch of having TDS ever again if they saw one of those videos. I've seen Bulwark videos. Because I watched them, and sometimes I go like, maybe we'll cover this. I don't remember if we've ever actually covered one on stream though.
No, we haven't. But I know who they are. That's Sarah something or other. And the guy annoys me terribly, but they both have massive TDS.
Tim Miller?
That's for sure.
Is that the woman that was at the press conference that
It
we
is.
watched?
Yeah, we covered her one time. Yes.
He was sitting next
New
to
York Times thing.
She was sitting next to what's her face?
Kellyanne Conway.
Kellyanne Conway, yeah. Or is that someone else?
No, that's her, Sarah. Yeah, but I don't know her last name. Tim Miller is the guy. Yeah, that's totally him.
Because isn't
Sarah Longwell? That's
I thought
her
the
name.
woman sitting next to Kellyanne Conway was like the Republicans against Trump. Like the name.
Yeah, that's her, Sarah Longwell.
Oh, okay, that is her.
Yeah.
Okay. Because whenever I listen to Bulwark, it seems very, very
left wing.
Left wing. So I'm confused if she's Republican.
She's a never Trumper. She's a never
like,
Trumper.
Well, shouldn't she be
more
like,
conservative?
Conservative. Yeah.
You would think, right?
Okay. It's a very interesting thing. I see this happen so often, where that that happens. People turn against like whoever the leader is, and all of a sudden it's like their political views just shift. And I'm like, what's going on here?
Tim Miller is an American political commentator, writer, and former political consultant. He was spokesman for the Republican National Committee during Mitt Romney's 2012 presidential bid. Look at that. He's a Republican
they're both Republicans. Too. That's why I'm confused when I listen to them. I'm like, what's happening here?
Right.
So,
their whole show is basically complaining about Trump, though.
I guess, and that's going to breed a left-wing audience just naturally. So
yeah,
maybe. I do see that they just did a stream today with Ben Stiller of all people, so that's interesting.
Oh wow!
But if you see a good one, see a good Bulwark video, if you think that would be worth covering, send it our way. So, Oshacy for $5 says it is technically not ethnic cleansing, by the way, at least not by most definitions. I thought ethnic cleansing just means that you have a group of people that are part of an ethnicity or like a region or a culture or something, and you just forcibly move them. I thought that's all it means. So, I mean, how would this not be an ethnic cleansing then? Definitionally. I always thought it meant like killing people, but because it sounds like it means killing people, but that's not what it means specifically. Our girl Sarah for $5 says we have a shortage of Latinx individuals. Let's bring them in to mow our grass and clean our bathrooms. I don't know if that's going to work.
Oof.
I'm not in favor of that. PC for $5 says people won't need to immigrate to America when the whole world is America. Now you're thinking. I like that. That's a good idea. Pappy Spoilers for $10. Thanks so much. Says I know you both hate TikTok, but my entire For You page is people making fun of leftists saying, hope this is what you wanted. Could just be my algorithm. Excited for the comic.
Cool. Thanks. Everyone make sure your address is correct on Indiegogo, because I'm going to start mailing the comics out pretty quick here.
Yes. So people were suggesting and saying that after TikTok got shut down and then came back up under Trump, that they noticed the algorithm seemed to change. So
really,
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, obviously, with them sucking up the Trump, maybe their things are going to change a little bit in terms of how it is it's going to be. I too, part of what I was curious about in seeing the reaction to all this is there were a lot of people on the far left that were all like, Hassan was one of them saying, oh, there's no difference between Harris and Trump on Israel and Gaza and all this stuff. And, I was seeing a lot of people who were on the more moderate left shitting all over those people saying, look how fucking stupid you are. Obviously, Harris wouldn't, be on board with a plan like this, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it is kind of interesting to see how that all break down. I haven't seen what Hassan has said in response to all this. I'm sure he'll say something very intelligent and articulate on the subject matter.
Libertarian Sasquatch for $2 says he's appointed Harkonnen to be Baron of Gaza.
That's not a good sign.
Yeah, look, if
That's
you got the
not a good sign.
Harkonnens coming in,
Yeah.
things are not going to go well.
No. Forrest for $5 says USH shut down. Politico now couldn't make their last payroll. Politico received 27 to 32 million from the federal government since 2020. Huge media scandal unfolding. Yeah, that was so weird today. I saw people were posting that Politico received a bunch of money from US aid, and then I was like, huh, okay, that is an interesting thing. What is the justification for that? And then I saw someone trying to debunk it, saying, well, they're just get like the different government organizations, they buy premium membership to a lot of the newspapers, and so that's all this is. And I was like, is that true? And then I looked at it, I'm like, wait a minute. Even though that's what it actually says, if you like click on the description, it's like way too much money for just buying subscriptions. It says like $8 billion for buying like 30 subscriptions or something. You're like, wait, what? That doesn't make any fucking sense. And then someone showed, you can see there's like a chart that shows they didn't really start giving money to Politico until like 2020, 2021. So, and then there's like a big increase in 2023. So, which makes it to me seems like it's some kind of COVID scam, because I'm assuming it's like around the time like businesses were asking for COVID relief money. So that's what it seemed like to me, that there was some kind of COVID scam, and that somehow they were able to basically get a bunch of money from the government and then still get it even after COVID is not even going on anymore somehow. So the whole thing does seem to be really shady to me.
Yeah, hopefully we can stop it, right?
Yeah.
And figure out how it happened. And
Yes.
get rid of the people who made it happen.
Right.
By hanging.
Right.
Oh, look, you agreed.
Well, there you go. So let's see, because I actually didn't look this up until just now. It says, so Politico has a response to this. I'm curious what their response to all this is. It says, what Elon Musk said is a bold-faced lie.
A bold-faced lie? They really said that?
Lie.
Not a bald-faced lie? I mean, they are a paper.
It says bold face.
Yeah.
B-O-L-D.
Okay. Interesting that they don't even know the expression.
Are they trying to be like cutesy because the title's in bold or something?
Maybe.
I thought you could say either. Is it only bald face? I thought you could say both. Anyway, well, I can't actually. This article is very long, so I'm not going to read it here, but I'll look into it. Val Van Gogh for $5 says, by the way, this plan was Molbug's prescription from the very beginning. Not sure if that counts as prediction, but makes you think. Really? This was Molbug's plan for Gaza. That is fascinating. Okay. I have seen a lot of people were pointing out that a lot of like Moldbugian ideas seem to be being implemented in this administration. So. And there was some claim that one of these people, I didn't really understand the claim, but there was some claim that one of the people that was working for Musk to go through all the budget stuff, he had some name that was some sort of reference to Molbug. But I don't know if that's true or not, but that was a claim. And I was like, very interesting things going on.
Yeah. God, I hate Molbug.
Yeah. As you should. Fate of Morality for $5 says, one state stupid, two states absurd, United States. There you go. I like
Hell yeah. Look at that. Beautiful.
Nathaniel Rosen for 15 shekels. Thank you. Says 20 are percent non-Jews, Druzy, Bedouin, Palestinians. Oh, okay, so it's not just Palestinians. It's 20% or like everyone else. Gotcha.
Yeah, look, all the Palestinians don't have to go. Just the criminal element has to go, right? That's the thing.
Right. BA for £5 says, Sitch, the Hamas brand isn't they want a state, they want to destroy Israel as a state. That is very true.
Yeah.
And that's why because I saw some people arguing that they thought this was like a negotiation tactic to make Hamas come to the table. And I don't buy that. 'cause,
Nobody.
I mean, like, I was like, that can't be. I mean, Hamas is what they're already like willing to sacrifice everyone in Palestine. Like, how is this any like that's not gonna bring them to the table? So I was like, that can't be what's going
What
on
got
here.
them to give up the hostages?
They traded a bunch of their own people, I think, back.
Okay, they wanted their own people.
And they
back.
also want a ceasefire because they need to probably regroup and do a bunch of other stuff. So, and they're probably testing the waters to see what Trump was going to do. I don't think this is what they thought Trump was going to do, but let's see. Actually, has Hamas put out some kind of? Oh, here we go. Hamas reacts to Trump's Gaza proposal. They just said we will not allow these plans to pass. Well, obviously, that's what they would say. Is there anything more than that? No, not for this article. Okay.
Well, they got some people back, so
They got some.
I'm happy about that.
That is good. Yes.
Seems like
just
some
worried
of
that
them
I don't
were
know how they're gonna
massive
get-
rape victims, but
Yes. I'm
they
just worried
kept
because I
them
don't.
the longest because they were like raping the shit out of them.
Yeah. I'm just worried because I don't know how they're going to get the rest of the hostages now after this announcement. So,
These are the people the far left is simping for.
yeah.
But look, it's an open air prison, so they should be able to rape everyone. Silly, right?
Valve and Go for $5 says Trump Netanyahu's plan might be contingent on if Middle East is slightly more open to U.S. governance in Gaza versus Israel, meaning it's not fully formed. I mean, that's possible. As I said, I don't. Listen, they could come up with some crazy plan that no one's mentioned or thought of yet, but I'm just trying to me, if you had a situation where Netanyahu and Trump were on the same page and they would both like throw out the hard ask and then there was some walking back negotiation stance to walk back to that both Trump and Israel be in favor of, I think I'd be more amenable to that being what's going to happen. My problem is I don't see Israel walking back from getting rid of all the Palestinians. I don't see them walking back from that. And I don't see the other surrounding Arab countries walking back from not wanting all those people in their country. That just seems like to be like the big impasse in my mind.
Yeah, this is throw it out there and see what happens. I agree with Vile Van Gogh.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't. They're not going to think through this entire thing. Trump's strategy has always been shake the box, make things happen, see what you get out of it, right? Mix things up. We've been doing it the same way too long.
You could be correct, but I think there is a danger to that in terms of
inactivity could be just as dangerous.
I agree, but I'm just saying to me to give to signal this puts Netanyahu in a position where why would he accept anything less, essentially? Unless Trump is going to try to snake yet Netanyahu, which is possible, right, and totally backtrack this whole thing. But then I just feel like Netanyahu is going to be too butthurt to be on board with the situation, unless it's all part of. I don't. It's hard for me to believe. I could believe Trump is willing to backtrack on a lot of this stuff if he can get some good deal. I don't trust Netanyahu to backtrack on any of this stuff to get some kind of middle ground. To me, that's kind of what the holdup is.
What would the backtrack
mind.
be?
On anything that's not getting rid of all the Palestinians.
Okay.
I can't. It's hard for me to see Netanyahu agreeing to anything less than that. That's where the holdup is for me in my mind. Is Netanyahu? It's not really Trump. I could see Trump walking back like anything, essentially, just to hammer out some deal that he thinks looks good.
Right. So he walks back, getting rid of all the Palestinians.
Yeah, I could see him walking back that, but I
Sure.
I don't see Netanyahu walking that back. And I think that to me that's the kink in
well,
all
his security is the one that's tangibly threatened. Our security is not threatened in any way, shape, or form. So obviously, we're in a position to walk back. He's not really in that position.
Exactly. Well, and also
Yeah.
he has the coalition of power that he has in Israel right now is very hinging on like a very extreme factions of, ethnically cleansing the Palestinians from Gaza and the West Bank.
I don't think it's it's contingent on dealing with the security concerns.
Mhm.
So, I mean, obviously people will argue over whether or not ethnically cleansing is necessary to deal with the security concerns. And look, Netanyahu may very well believe that's the only way to deal with them.
Right, right.
Yeah. I mean,
Activists
Trump
work
might think that's the only way to deal with them.
right. I mean, I do believe Trump is being truthful when he says like we can't just keep doing the same thing again and again and again. And I think that is true.
Yeah, mowing the lawn, remember?
Right.
No more fucking mowing the lawn, okay?
Yeah.
We're putting cement in.
Actually, just work for $10. Hey, Sean says we ain't buying Gaza. Trump never offered to pay for nothing. The threat of Hamas losing territory is smart. They attack because they know there's zero cost they care about. Civilian deaths help Hamas.
Yeah, they got nothing to lose.
Um,
Trump is trying to give them something to lose.
I completely disagree with everything you said here. But first of all, Trump did say that he wanted that we were going to build. He said we, America, is going to control and build up Hamas. He did say that. I mean, maybe he doesn't mean it, but he did say that in the press conference. He said that the surrounding Arab countries would pay for the relocation and building up of those areas for the Palestinians. But I just said that I don't believe that this idea makes sense. I thought you agreed with me, Adam. Was that the idea?
Well,
that
I was only talking about the Palestinians attacking at the end there.
Oh, okay.
That they attack because it's zero cost for them
Yeah.
to attack. That's the only thing I was talking
Right,
about.
right.
So
Yeah, because
I agree with you. I think
Right.
if there's a credible offer that we can purchase it, I mean, Trump seems desperate to buy something. So
Yes, but I mean, it's in terms of I don't see how like saying, okay, you're gonna lose your country, we're gonna ethically cleanse you, and then okay, that's supposed to bring Hamas to the negotiation table. I mean, Hamas they don't give a fuck. Like this is an organization that's, as you said, I mean, I agree with the last part. They don't care how many people die. They will throw all bodies until there's no bodies left. In my opinion, Hamas will throw every body into the treadmill, into the gears here, to just bloody the whole thing out. That's their thought process. And if that's the case, I don't see how you kind of negotiate by saying, "Oh, you're going to lose your country." It's like, well, they're kind of operating under that idea anyway.
If the refugees start taking the offer, though, and the refugees start relocating, then I mean, the noose is closing around Hamas. I 1000% agree with you. Hamas is not taking the deal. The whole point of the deal is to relocate the people who are innocent people who are stuck in the crossfire.
Of course. That's
so
the
look,
process,
if they start taking the deal, if we start seeing hundreds, if not thousands of them on airplanes being shipped off to Jordan or Egypt or wherever they're going, like everybody's going to perceive, oh my God, like the last people left there are fucking Hamas. You might as well nuke the thing and start from scratch.
Yeah, I agree with that. I was
you
just referring
carpet bomb the whole fucking thing, front to back.
Yeah. Well, obviously, as I said, first of all, again, as I said, I'm skeptical that the surrounding countries would accept refugees, period. But I was just, in terms of the deal part, like, yeah, I'm sure there are definitely Palestinians that would, in all truthfulness, and would want to move out of Gaza, move to some surrounding Arab country.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that.
Of course.
I don't think other countries are going to let them. Yeah, I don't think other countries are going to let them do that. But I'm just talking about in terms of like specifically in negotiating with Hamas. I just don't see that.
Well, look, so you're switching.
Option.
Like there's two negotiations going on here at once, right?
No. I'm not switching. I was saying that my comment was just reacting to Sean's comment about that there's the zero
that
cost.
We ain't buying. Oh, there's tons of cost. Oh, there's
cost for the civilians. There's no cost for the Hamas organization.
Yes. Yeah. Obviously. That's why they keep doing it. That's why we want to offer the civilians some sort of out.
Right.
This might work. I mean, this might work. It depends upon. I don't know what Trump will present to the other countries about vetting these people. I mean, if Trump makes an offer that they're going to, and obviously this is going to come with some sort of foreign aid, right? They're not going to pay for this. I don't think they're in a position to pay for this. But you know, if America is going to do some sort of economic development in their country, and all they have to do is take a bunch of refugees, I don't know how they vet the people though. That's the thing. And I
Micah
don't.
Movies said today that Trump's press secretary has already walked back the idea of paying for this or sending troops there. Well, that's interesting.
Well, he has to. Obviously, MAGA is going to come out immediately and go, "What? We're not sending troops. People are already losing their minds over sending troops."
Right. Yeah, but then doesn't
Yes.
that kind of
Next,
take
they're going to
away
lose
from
their
the
mind over
idea
the
of
foreign
like,
aid.
yeah, but doesn't that kind of take away from the idea of a negotiation tactic? If they're going to walk it back, they're going to throw it out there and then immediately walk it back. It makes them seem not serious.
Yeah. Okay.
So
So
makes it seem like it
what?
was sincere, but
So what is it
Yeah.
if it's not a negotiation tactic? What's going
think
on
it's-
here?
I
It's
think
just
it's
Trump
sincere.
going,
I don't
"Oh,
know.
let's just come out and talk."
I think it's a sincere plan and a shake the box strategy. I think it's both of
Mhm.
those things. I think it is sincere though. I think it's what he wants.
Well, obviously, if he's going to
People
walk it
have
back, is it
endured
really
for
what he
generations.
wants?
Well, if he gets like historic levels of pushback from his own side, he's gonna have to walk it back, right?
He's going to get pushback on the foreign aid too. As soon as he says, "Okay, we're going to spend $50 billion in Jordan to build new settlements for all the Palestinian refugees. We're going to build homes." Look, Americans can't afford housing. We're going to build 1.8 units in fucking Jordan. You know
Right.
how crazy everyone's going to go in America if that happens? What
Well, no,
happened to
we're-
America first?
Well, no, it was supposed to be to be clear, he didn't in that press conference, he said
Jordan
say
was
that
going to pay for it.
Jordan's
Yeah.
going to pay for building Jordan. He was just saying that we were going to pay for building up the area that which we would now control and own.
Right.
So he's looking at it. He lays it out very clearly in that press conference as a business investment. America is going to invest. We're going to gentrify Gaza and own it.
Right.
Is the way he lays it out. But anyway, here I found the press conference from today. I think
Yeah,
I found
it's
where
great.
she talks about it. So let's see what she says.
Look forward to seeing you there, Sage. So thank you very, very much. Garrett, great to see you here today.
Thank you. On Gaza, the president has spent basically his entire public career criticizing foreign entanglements, nation building, sending American troops to fight abroad, particularly in the Middle East. This plan seems like it could ultimately involve all of those things. Can you explain this reversal and how building and owning Gaza squares with America First foreign policy?
I would reject the premise of your question that this forces the United States to be entangled in conflicts abroad. The president has not committed to putting boots on the ground in Gaza. He has also said that the United States is not going to pay for the rebuilding of Gaza. His administration is going to work with our partners in the region to reconstruct this region. And let me just take a step back here, because this is an out-of-the-box idea. That's who President Trump is. That's why the American people elected him. And his goal is lasting peace in the Middle East for all people in the region. And as I said in my opening remarks, we've had the same people pushing the same solutions to this problem for decades. And it's been made very clear to the president that the United States needs to be involved in this rebuilding effort to ensure stability in the region for all people. But that does not mean boots on the ground in Gaza. It does not mean American taxpayers will be funding this effort. It means Donald Trump, who is the best deal maker on the planet, is going to strike a deal with our partners in the region.
Because he did not rule out American troops in Gaza last night. Are you doing that now?
I am saying that the president has not committed to that just yet. He has not made that commitment, and you know that.
And on the foreign partners, the Jordanians, the Egyptians, the Saudis have already panned this plan. What foreign partners, if any, have expressed any interest in being part of it?
Well, the president has said he's been socialing this idea for quite some time. He's been thinking about this. He said
This is not a backpedal.
Well, so there's one backpedal and then there's one pretend backpedal. So the pretend backpedal is just he didn't commit to put troops on the ground, which is like, well, maybe he will, right?
Of course,
still
yes.
like an up in the air. The thing that she did say more clearly, which I don't think is true, I'm going to go back and see if we can find the clip we just listened to where it was she said that he didn't say that we were going to pay for it, which I could have swore we just saw him say, or at least imply strongly, that the U.S. was going to own and pay for the region. So I'm going to see if I can find where that was exactly.
Okay.
Said in his remarks last night, this was not a
Hold on. Because if you say you own something, I mean, obviously you have to pay. Like, it's not going to be like, oh, the other countries are going to spend all the money to rebuild it, and then America's going to somehow magically own it. That's not how I interpret it. But
Well, you
That's
can
very
barter.
dangerous and very precarious. They instead can occupy all of a beautiful area with homes and safety, and they can live out their lives in peace and harmony instead of having to go back and do it again. The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it, too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site, level the site and get rid of the destroyed buildings, level it out, create an economic development that will supply unlimited numbers of jobs and housing for the people of the area.
okay, so I mean, I was correct. If he says that the U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip and will be and we will own it, his words, we will own it and be responsible for dismantling the bombs, dismantling the tunnels, and create and rebuilding and creating an economic development that will supply an unlimited number of jobs and housing. I mean, I guess you can kind of, the press secretary can kind of twist that around and say, well, he didn't say we're going to pay for it, but it's like, that's what those words mean, right? The words U.S. taxpayers will pay for this didn't leave his lips, but saying we will own it and be responsible for dismantling the bombs and rebuilding it means we're going to pay for it. So,
Well, who owns it now? Who do we have to give the money to when we buy it?
nope. I mean, I guess that's a good question. Like,
Yeah,
who owns
so
it, right?
he's saying we're going to go in there. We're going to take the land. I mean,
Right.
obviously, that's going to cost money, right?
Yes.
It's going to cost money to provide security. I mean, it's going to be an investment, but there's no one owns the land at this point.
No. Yeah, I don't mean like he's going to say, here's a check, Hamas, we're buying the land. But I'm saying when you say we're going to own the land and dismantle the bombs and rebuild it, I mean, I don't know. Maybe what he means is like, we're going to control the region and get a bunch of private investors to rebuild it or something. I don't know. Maybe that's how you could kind of spin the whole situation. Regardless, just having the U.S. control the territory, even if you do get a bunch of private investment into it, is still going to cost the taxpayer millions, if not billions of dollars.
Taking
in
it
just
over,
military,
like
yeah, and all that stuff.
security is going to cost.
Security,
Yeah,
right.
all that stuff's going to cost money.
So
Yeah.
So I guess I can see how the press secretary can kind of like weasel out the answer that she gave. It's not like technically untrue because he was vague enough on what he was saying, but we'll see. I mean, I don't think anything is going to come. Well, it might come to pass, but I'm skeptical. Fondue for $5 says, so if Gaza becomes an American Commonwealth, will we have to ship with only American ships because of the Jones Act? Well, no, because so the Jones Act, which there's some stipulation in Jones Act, which is really retarded, needs to be erased. That only applies if the ship, I believe, docks in 2 American ports consecutively. And so there's some law where, like, if a ship docks in 2 American ports consecutively, it has to be built by an American boat making company and crewed by an American crew. The problem is, like, there isn't really American boat companies, I think, that really do this. And obviously, it's, American crews are more expensive. The whole thing's retarded. This is why if you ever go on a cruise, they stop in American port, then they stop at a non-American port, then they stop in American port. They kind of do the balancing. So with Gaza, it would be actually very simple because since Gaza is so small, they could just stop at an Israeli port, Gaza, Israeli port, Gaza. So they can get around the Jones Act pretty easily. Mitch for 2 Aussie bucks says, thoughts on Steins Gate. I've heard good things about Steins Gate. I've never actually watched it, but I want to one of these days.
Who has the time, right?
Right. The Rooster for $5 says, the global elites don't want you to know this, but Palestine is free. You can just go over and take it.
There you go. That's the meme. That's a good meme.
I have 352 Palestinians. Yes. Jonathan Smith for $5 says, Trump so far is stating he's going to do what no one wants. Since they don't want it, they have to deal. No Arab wants USA, Gaza, so they will take it. That's only half true. This is a problem with that theory. That's only half true. You're correct that no Arab wants this deal, but Israel fucking loves this deal. Oh my God. the love and admiration that was like sparkling out of Netanyahu's eyes with this deal. That's my problem with the concept of this argument, is that I don't see how you're going to get Israel to walk back on this. At least while Netanyahu's in charge. Maybe Trump's plan in some kind of 10D chess way is, just to get the gears moving here, and then Netanyahu will be out of office, and maybe it'll be someone who's more amenable to making a deal. But we'll see, I guess.
Don't you think they're just going to steamroll? I mean, Israel has been planning on steamrolling the whole time.
I do.
Okay.
But see, that's another reason.
The deal on the table.
That's another reason why I see this sort of as the whole, this is really the walk back plan, is that because exactly what you just said, Israel's plan is to just go full steam ahead. Israel probably has the most negotiating power in the situation. So America's at the end of the day going to have to contend with that.
What's the contention?
No, I'm saying they're going to have to be deferential to what Israel wants to do in the situation.
Right. Like a bunch of people on the far left are going to complain.
Well, the
like
Arab
what
countries,
is the...
Well, no, because again, I don't think these Arab countries are going to take the people.
You said they don't care if Israel steamrolls. You said it earlier.
Oh.
When you said you don't care if Israel steamrolls over everybody.
Okay. When you said steamroll, I didn't know you meant like just murder everyone. I thought you meant just like steamroll over the land and like develop it. I misunderstood what you meant. I don't think Israel has the political ability to literally genocide the entire area. I think Netanyahu's fine with doing that. I don't think he has the political will to do that. And I don't think even Trump would allow that to happen. I think it would look too bad for America.
Well, I guess we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Fair and practical
practice. I would more bet on Israel is going to steamroll. I think they're going to make the people an offer. If the people refuse the offer, I think they're just going to go in and
swipe them out.
Yeah, totally. I think that's exactly what's going to happen. I think that's what's on the table.
We'll see. I mean, maybe. Fair and practical price for 10 Aussie bucks says, Riviera of the Middle East, as far back as February 2024, Jared Kushner said Gaza's waterfront property could be very valuable. I thought, no way, but here we are. No, Gazans not allowed. WTAF. This feels dystopian. And the constant reminder could use a surge and the constant reminder could be a surge in Hamas and Hezbollah recruitment. Yeah, I think that's, to me, what I'm definitely seeing that go in that direction. And I think that's like the big issue here is like, if America does go through with this, it is going to create so much massive terrorism and instability and entangle us in the Middle East, in a far greater way than anything fucking George W. Bush did.
You mean if America
controls Gaza?
Yeah.
Right. Now, maybe what you're alluding to, Adam, and maybe this is sort of the weird plan, is Trump is going to be like, we're going to do this plan where America is going to control the region. We're going to be your sort of like moral overlords where we're going to allow you all to relocate. But if you don't do that, then Israel's just going to come kill you all and control the entire region, and we'll be fine with it. Right. Maybe that's sort of
that
like
is the offer. Yeah. Right. That is the implicit offer here. It's just, it seems plain as day to me. You seem to agree with it. Well, not agree with it and you think it's a good offer. But agree with it and you think that's what's going to happen here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just like all this postulating about the strategy and the walk back and all this. It's just, I mean, what will be, will be.
Well, people want to create the walk back negotiation thing because most Trump supporters are completely against doing this. So they want to believe that there's there's something else going on here. Because they're like, it seems such like a bad idea on his face. So, Caramel 502 for $2 says the Gazans will run through the Sinai Meadows. That's right. And the nice upper state Sinai Meadows. Amoeba Sheep for 50 knock says, shout out to the Sitch community. I never commented on YouTube at all before, but recently, if anything, I'm too comfortable here. Love you guys. Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah, thanks.
That's good to hear.
That's yes. Amoeba Sheep. Amoeba Sheep leaves a lot of good comments too. So
that's good.
Thanks for that.
Thank you. Solidos for $5 says, from the river to the sea, Palestine shall be free. Real estate, baby. 20 more years in the Middle East, bringing back coin like we never left. There you go.
That's how he He is a bit selling it to his side because he's got to, if he can sell it as some profitable investment, then his base is more open to it, obviously.
I get what you're saying. I just don't think that's the case. I don't think they're going to believe. I think they're so
You don't think they're
burned.
going to buy it, or you don't think he's selling it that way?
No, I think he's selling it that way. I don't think they're going to buy it. I think so many people are so burned on all this stuff. That's why they're just so isolationist about the whole procedure, the whole process.
We
They
can
don't
put a
trust
poll
it.
up. We have a bunch of
Yeah.
Trump
You can.
MAGA people in the chat.
You can. Zero for $5 says it's not germane to anything, but today seems like a good day for name that Pokemon. Do you want to do a Pokemon or save it for some other time?
Some other time.
Okay. J-Mac, thanks so much. A Circuit Fall for $20 says, also, just so you know, I got the idea about the Twitter video from my wife saying it looks like you and Adam are talking when I do the pec flex, so blame her.
Oh,
Okay. You mean bless her for this beautiful video that you made.
I blame her.
Solodos for $5 says, this is the most fun I've had with politics in years. You losers were debating a 1 or 2 state solution. Nah, fam, we got the 53rd state solution now. That's true. We got 51st state is Greenland. 52nd state is the Panama Canal. And the 53rd state is the Gaza Strip, baby. Rex Vecton, thanks so much for the 17 months. Says, can we pressure Israel into building us a border wall now? Now theirs looks way better. Yeah, there you go. Ryan Wolf for $10 says, not sure if anyone cares, but Rooster Teeth was purchased by the original creator, Bernie Burns. RT shut down last year and was assumed long gone. Curious to see what happens. God bless. Yeah, I never followed Rooster Teeth. I never really followed Red versus Blue or RWBY, but I hope that's good news for those people. Ace for $2 says, Sitch, check the DMs I sent you. Okay. Do you want me to read them or something? Can I read them? It's loading really slow. What is this? It's happening over the weekend. Oh, this is the thing I was talking about. Yeah, where they said that there was some. Oh no, I'm looking at the wrong post. The official Democrat Party rapid response account needs to stop talking like this. Dems are now speedrunning with MAGA racist types to see who can torpedo their movement faster. What did they tweet out here? Oh, I saw this clip. This was the Jasmine Crockett clip. I don't know if you saw, where she was basically saying, if you're competent, you're not concerned. The only people crying are mediocre white boys. Yeah, it was the clip of her complaining about, like, you know, oh, the anti-DI people are just mediocre white, you know, losers that can't get jobs otherwise. Yeah, I saw that clip.
I saw that too. I don't like that. She's horrible. I
do think there's a war right now in the Democrat Party between these two factions. I'm still confident. Confident is too strong. I'm still hopeful that the sort of anti-woke, more moderate Fettermans of the world are going to win, you know, the control, the soul of the Democratic Party. And that these are the dying gasps of the Jasmine Crockett's of the world trying to hold on power. But a lot of it is going to depend on what the Trump term looks like. Dr. Joseph Ward, hey, Sean, for another $10. Thank you. Says it's not about negotiating with Hamas. It's about removing them from power as a consequence. Civilian casualties won't do it, but being the government that may lose them, Gaza hurts legitimacy. Maybe. I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Tom waiting for $2 says, are you guys going to cover the Brett Cooper drama? Do we actually even know what's going on? I saw she made she made her video, got a bunch of views. I didn't actually watch the video because I honestly don't really give a shit about the Brett Cooper drama that much. I don't know who's right in the Brett Cooper drama situation. If anyone has, I don't know if anything has ever been confirmed, if it's also speculation or not. If something's been confirmed, let me know.
What is the drama?
The drama is Brett Cooper was a host at the Daily Wire.
Oh, I know that part.
And she left. She left, and her someone who was like her personal friend before she worked there was her producer, and she took over the show. And people were criticizing her, saying that they like her producer they made her producer kind of like speak like her and do the show like her, like they were trying to do some kind of like replacement thing. And people were at first kind of blaming her friend, saying that she was wrong to do this, that she snaked Brett Cooper. That's weird and gross that she would try to replace her in the show, blah, 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 blah. And this kind of came about because even though Brett Cooper never said anything publicly, I think Brett Cooper's family members or some other friend or something made some kind of bad comment about her friend, and Brett Cooper liked it or retweeted it, or I don't know, had some association with this post, right? So everyone was like, so all the people were shitting on Brett Cooper's replacement / friend, saying, how dare you do this? It's so gross. And then someone else came out who was like, that her friends' family members are her friends, saying that it's all bullshit, that Brett Cooper was the one who was the snake, that Brett Cooper was asking for too much money that Daily Wire didn't want to pay. And they said, okay, well, we're not willing to make this a deal. So then Brett Cooper said, okay, well, I'll just go out on my own. And then she wanted her friend to come with her, but her friend would have made more money staying at the Daily Wire. So she chose to stay at the Daily Wire. So Brett Cooper was mad at her friend for staying as opposed to coming with her.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Okay.
This
So-
is drama. Holy
So that
shit.
was the other side. Right. And so I don't know.
So now she's in the show. Her friend that wouldn't come, the producer, right? She's
Yeah, but
the
then-
new host.
Yeah, but then since everyone was like massively downvoting and bombing the show and everything, that
Mhm.
show I believe is now going to be canceled,
Really?
replaced or
Oh,
something,
okay,
because
I
it
got
just
it.
it,
So
it
she
wasn't
didn't-
working.
She didn't fly.
Right.
She stabbed her friend in the back. And
Right,
She
so-
didn't even pull it off.
So the argument is that, like, Brett Cooper was being very shitty for, if it's true, Brett Cooper's being very shitty for essentially, leaving on her own, which is her prerogative to do if she wants to make more money, but then basically allowing her friend to, take the heat for all this things that could have maybe or maybe not been true. I don't know if any of this stuff has ever been proven, which side of this story is the correct side, the Brett Cooper side or the anti-Brett Cooper side, but
Probably
I don't really care.
None of this came out in any sort of communication between the two people. So
no, it's all speculation, secondhand sources, hearsay, family members, friends throwing blame on each other.
I mean, they could have been a nice handoff if they would have just
Been public
came to
about the
some
whole situation.
No,
Yeah.
no. But obviously negotiate in private, but like if there's if she's not going to make as much money working for Brett and she wants to stay at Daily Wire, like more power to her. Brett could just pass the show off to her and give it some chance at success because they're friends instead
Right.
of like dragging it down and
Oh,
having to
okay.
find
Yeah,
another
obviously,
producer.
obviously.
It's like,
Right.
but I don't know why that is just so. I don't know. That's why I think maybe miscommunication played a role.
Aaron is dizzy, says Brett is planning a collab with Candace Owens.
Oh, great.
That's fun.
I never really got the appeal of Brett Cooper. I don't watch her stuff. If you watch her stuff, more power to you.
Right.
So,
John in the chat says Brett met Reagan. Oh, that was her name, Reagan, yeah. Brett met Reagan with the other girl on Daily Wire. Oh, I thought they were friends beforehand. Brett's mom started liking the anti-Reagan comments. Ah, there you go. Okay, so that's kind of what started the whole thing off, I guess.
family member gets involved.
Yeah.
Scary.
But I don't know. It doesn't seem like anyone in chat saying, is there any receipts about who's correct, the Reagan side or the Brett side? But
I'm surprised at this poll here. So I did, would you support a profitable U.S. investment in Gaza where the U.S. owns the land and develop the area? And we've got yes, I'm MAGA at 24%.
Mhm.
And no, I'm MAGA at 16%. So there's more people in favor of it that are MAGA
right.
than not in favor of that are MAGA. But there's also yes, I'm not MAGA at 20% and no, I'm not MAGA at 40%. So the biggest thing is the people who are not MAGA who are not in
Are
favor
not in
of it.
favor
Right.
of it, yeah. Well, if you combine them, right? So the no's would be what, 50,
Yeah, but there's
60.
the no, I'm not MAGA people could just be against it because it would be a huge win for
Correct.
Trump.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm assuming a lot of the yes people are in favor because
It would be a huge win for
right. Yeah, exactly.
for Trump. Yeah.
Right.
So they're in favor of it because it'd be a
Right,
huge
right.
win for Trump. Look, this is the thing George Bush tried to do. And look, it's funny because we covered Jimmy Carter's funeral and George Bush was there with Trump.
Right.
And Like George W. Bush wanted to go into Iraq because he wanted to create a democracy in the middle of the Middle East and kind of transform the entire Middle East. It obviously failed spectacularly. So, but if Trump could do something more modest in Gaza and be a huge success, oh my God,
Of
everybody would be like, oh my God, Trump brought peace in the Middle East.
course, of course.
Yeah.
I guess just look at the poll because it says, would you support a profitable U.S. investment? Because I mean, part of it is like, if it worked, I would support it, right?
Well,
But I guess I don't think it's going to work. So
look, that's a different question entirely.
Right.
Obviously, Trump is not going to say, hey, let's do this. It's going to be a total waste of money and an utter failure. So that when they support it, the vision is going to be a profitable investment. And that's going to be the way they sell it, right?
Sure.
But Sitch is answering, no, I'm not MAGA, because he's like, there's no way this is going to be profitable. Look, maybe there's plenty of people who are answering that way because they think the exact same thing.
Right. I mean, but I would adjudicate it based on my likelihood of thinking it's going to succeed. That's how I would adjudicate it. So,
which does go into how much tourism is going to be in the area, like what's going to be the major source of profitability, right?
Right.
Are there natural resources we can exploit?
Yeah. Metal Rules 81 for 2 hours says Jordan will pay just like Mexico paid for the wall. There you go.
Mexico didn't pay for the wall?
Shh. Be quiet. Ikaika's shuttle service. Thanks so much for the $5. Says, have you guys done a reaction video to Destiny versus Good Logic debate?
No.
They did another one?
No, it's probably the same one.
You're talking about the old one from like a month ago?
Yeah.
We didn't do a reaction. I mean, I watched it, but I think everything, I feel like it's kind of silly to react to anything Destiny now because also it's completely overshadowed by the Sex Pest nude leaking situation. So
yeah, true.
It's like, why bother? Blue 566 for 26 months says, I think BB is just playing up how much he wants the deal. So when they walk back, it seems like a huge concession. I mean, it's possible. That's definitely possible, but I'm going to say unlikely.
BB
My vibe
wants
is in the unlikely situation.
Political cover when he goes in and murders all those people. That's what he wants.
Yeah, he's like, I gave you the chance. I give you the chance. You could have moved out, but you didn't chase it, so I'm just going to kill you all.
Yeah. They've set up political cover. Look, Trump came in and played his part, said it's going to be beautiful.
Right.
Imagine it. A chicken in every pot.
Holton for $2 says, for years now, the left has flooded the zone using our institutions and government. Time has come to return the favor. It is the density of the assault that will carry the day. There you go.
God, I was listening to that hearing today on government waste, fraud, and abuse. And man, the Democrats are just fear-mongering all over the place. It irks me so much because it seems so hypocritical to me. They constantly blame Republicans for fear-mongering.
Well, everyone fear-mongers. There's not a dearth of fear-mongering from either side.
Right. Well, they make this claim. They constantly make this claim that, oh my God, all of my constituents are terrified that their Social Security checks are not going to go through. And I'm just thinking, well, maybe they should fucking turn off MSNBC then.
Yeah. Well, that's obviously completely
like
false,
you're the one scaring the shit out of them.
Right. Yep. Well, that's how it works. This is how it works. Someone on some political side does something, the other side criticizes it, but then hyperbolizes it to get everyone ratcheted up. And then they go, oh my God, they're going to destroy the country, the world, whatever. Everyone's hair on fire.
Yeah, look, that's another thing.
Repeat.
Because they constantly do the hyperbole thing. Like, everyone's a fucking Nazi. But then Trump does some hyperbole about how this is going to be fantastic. And they're like, oh, 10 lies in this statement.
Yeah, well, I mean,
insane.
Yeah, but you can't just say Trump does hyperbole not just in the positive direction, also does it in the negative direction. I mean, we had the whole, they're sending their criminals, they're eating the pets. I mean, that's all just negative hyperbole.
Right.
That's like the whole like they're gonna come to cut your social security is like the same as saying like they're gonna come to rape and eat your pets. They're gonna rape you and then eat your pets. So I'm just
Right.
saying like this is how it works. Everyone unfortunately hyperbolizes something that's probably a real issue. They blow it up to like, is it actually a real issue? Kind of, proportions, and then everyone loses their mind about it. So
Right. There is fear mongering.
yes.
I don't know how
Soto's,
much truth there is to the fact that Republicans are going to cut Social Security.
I don't think they're going to cut Social Security
So
at
there's
all.
none.
Right. I would imagine there's none to that.
Okay. What
Soto's,
about what about the other claim?
that
The
they're going to eat your pets? I think
no,
there's
that
zero to that. That they're sending.
Trump is a Nazi and all of his supporters are Nazis.
I mean, I
I
don't think
guess there
Trump is a
is,
Nazi. I
like,
think there are Nazis running around.
There
but I
are
don't think Trump's
Nazis
a
in,
Nazi.
yeah.
Right.
There are Nazis in his supporters, yeah.
I mean,
Because that's where you
definitely an
get
exit list.
buy-in. You get like
Right.
some shade of truth. That's where obviously the Lake and Riley thing gives Trump some hint of truth when
Exactly.
they talk about the
Right.
immigrants coming to rape and murder your daughters.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Soto's for $4 says, Sitch, don't worry. I have a good friend who's recruiting in Florida. Thank you. We can get you signed up before the next counterinsurgency war draft kicks off. After all, you said you believe everyone should serve. Wow. Adam, I got your ass too. I have family serving in California, so we can get you signed up too. After all, you're so concerned about U.S. industry. Nothing greases the gears like the blood of our enemies, so you can join me. I mean, fortunately, I think when does the draft age end? Have I aged out of the draft age? I
I'm
think
not
I
sure.
have.
That's a good question.
Right. What's the draft age?
I don't
limit
think
here?
you haven't aged out. No way.
Well, it says if it's 18 to 25, I've aged out. But
Oh, okay.
it says
But
the maximum draft age is 26. Okay, so I'm safe.
The draft age limit. Oh, I guess you're right. Holy
I'm
shit.
safe. Yeah. Unless it becomes a day after, not day after tomorrow. What was the Live Die Repeat movie? Unless it's like Live Die Repeat, and they're literally like fucking drafting every fucking
need
man is not
everyone.
like 70. Yeah, I'll be okay if there's no alien invasion. So, but thank you for your concern, Sotos. Sotos for another $2 says, "Hey guys, it's me, neoliberal policy. You thought I was dead? Psych! Nation building is back on the menu. America, America. Allah shed His grace on thee and crown thy good with hijab hood from the river to the sea."
Wow.
Sotos for $2 says, "Don't worry either, actual justice warrior Sean. We can draft you too. Your ass too. You seem like such a fan of the idea. You can join me for a little 15-month tour, unless you're a cowardly type that demands others to die for your ideas." Wow, Sotos is swinging hard here. So there you go.
Solidosh, our libertarian fan who gets 100% of his money from the federal government.
Yes. That's just the first wave of drafting, Sitch. They up the age if needed. Yeah, I mean, that's possible, but I think I'm okay.
I think they do, yeah.
I'm okay. I'll use my secret Jew money, my Jew gold to save myself, right?
Oh my God.
To buy my way out of it. Fair and practical progress for 5 Aussie bucks. Thank you so much. Says, if there was U.S. compulsory voting, would policies be closer to the center? Looking outside and the fear mongering seems expected to energize voters. I don't know. It's a good question. I mean, don't you guys have compulsory voting in Aussie land? So maybe. I've never seen any studies or data about what effect it has on the population. I don't think it's ever going to happen. There's way too much pushback against it. You think it would push things to the center, or that it would?
Yeah, I think it would. I think it would be more moderating.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a logic to it making sense that way, but who knows? Anyways.
All right. What a great show. This was a lot of fun. And I guess we're not streaming tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm going out of town for a bit, so we won't be streaming tomorrow or on Sunday.
Look
but
at
we'll
this.
see you guys on Tuesday.
You guys are gonna miss us.
I know, you're gonna look how sad you guys are gonna be. Well,
it's okay.
Listen, you guys got to make sure y'all tell Trump to not do anything crazy in the next couple days, because we're not going to be streaming, right? He's got to wait till Tuesday or Monday before he does something crazy, right? You got to make sure you tell him that.
I don't think he can. I'm telling you, like, as soon as we end this live stream, the carpet bombing in Gaza is going to begin.
Right.
It's going to be right now.
Haywood Jablom for $5 says the guy saying you need to serve in the military to have an opinion on war sounds like the woman who says men can't talk about abortions. Wow.
Well, I think Solo is just like a woman at heart. So
To be fair to Soldiers, I think he's being tongue in cheek, sarcastic, but
he's being facetious.
he's being facetious. So
Okay. Well, good.
Okay.
I'm just joking around with him too. He's all man.
yes.
All right.
Okay. See you guys on Tuesday. Take care.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Oh, wait. JMac for $2 says my video. Oh, you're right. We almost forgot. How dare. Wait, bring up the video. Bring up the video, Adam.
Oh my God.
Bring up the video.
This video seems a little gay.
No, I'm so glad you reminded me, JMac. Okay, I almost forgot. What a travesty that would have been. Okay.
What's going on with this video?
So here we have JMac says
First describe the video before we actually bring it up.
so it says embrace your cringe, drop your ego, go to the gym, become enlightened. And this is JMac is wearing our merch. He posted a tweet earlier today that I retweeted about getting gains in our merch. So this is what the video is about. Right?
Well, I mean, it's playing. Is there music to it or something?
There's volume. What are you talking
Oh, there
about?
is.
Yes.
Okay.
You just watched it with no volume?
Things are being said. Are they as gay as the imagery?
He's talking. It's supposed to be like his bicep, like it's like you and I talking through his
Oh,
biceps.
okay.
You just wait. You just thought JMac just uploaded a video of him flexing his tits, and you were
I thought he was getting ready to send some content for his OnlyFans or something.
Okay, no wonder. Okay, that makes sense why you were confused.
Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1. 23 seconds. Let's go.
But Sitch, working out is hard. Yes, Adam, it is. But working out increases strength, and strength gives you the ability to express free will. Oh, well, in that case, I should go to the gym right now. You should, Adam. You really should.
Oh my God. Okay, that is hilarious.
There you go.
All right, that's much better. Look, I think I probably go to the gym more than Sitch. Sitch, are you working out regularly?
Yes.
You might have got it backwards there, Jay.
Yes.
All right. I'm glad we did that. That was fun.
Anyway, thank you, Jay.
All
Thank
right.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
All right. Have fun on your adventure.